Hello. Welcome. I am Kat from Amplify Your Influence, and in this video training, I want to have, well, it's actually not a training, it's a little bit more of a conversation, it's a bit more of a chat. So I want to take you a little bit behind the scenes and have a bit more of a casual chat about what's important to me in business and why. And the purpose of this is to really get you thinking about what's most important to you. So my goal here is to kind of take you on a bit of a journey of reflecting on what your business values are and who you're becoming and how fast you're evolving and how happy you are with where you're at right now and how you're progressing. So I'm going to be sharing my top 5 values in business and how I outwork these business values in my day-to-day life. So those of you who are on here, I would love it if you engage and just write some comments. Now, what I'd love you to do is whenever I say something that you think, that's a gem, that's a nugget, that's a piece of wisdom, or that's some really good advice there. And even if you've heard it before, I actually want you to write it in the comments. And if you just write it, whatever it was that I said, that's going to help you engage and also retain what I'm talking about. So it's a little bit more interactive than just me having a monologue. And so if you hear something and you think, yeah, that's cool, just write it in the comments. Or if you kind of miss it or you don't have enough time to type, just write the word gem in the comments. Write the word gem whenever I drop a gem. So that's kind of like I give you a gift and then you give me back a gift. So that would be really cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hello, Natasha. Great to have you here. Hi, Carolyn. Good to see you here. So just write the word gem whenever I say something that is like, yep, that's a gem. That's something I want to pay attention to, and just write it down. So really excited to share with you about my business values and how you can determine your business values, how they're different to your personal values, and how you can actually outwork them. Because when you're outworking your values in your day-to-day life and you're aligned, so you're not going in two different directions where part of you is really happy and satisfied about what you're doing and the other part's kind of frustrated and you've got tension in your body, there's not this alignment and congruency. And so you're trying to roll out something, like you're trying to create something in your business and you're wondering why it's not quite landing. It's often because you're not aligned with your values and living them every single day. When you really stop and think about what's most important to you in business and you strip away everything else, that you strip away the external things like that incessant need to impress other people, that we can all fall into that trap of that need to look good instead of really truly tapping into that true source of inspiration inside you, which is the fuel that's going to motivate you to keep going when business gets tough. And business always gets tough. That is the process of business. Business is a roller coaster. It's hills, it's valleys. It's never just smooth sailing in business, right? So when we really tap into what is important to me outside of comparison, looking at what else everyone else is doing, caring about the good opinion of other people, and really tapping into that inner drive, clearing space in our day to allow space for downloads to come in and for everything that we need within us to kind of be processing and for the right things to come to the surface. There's so much under the surface in our world, in our soul. There's so much there, and we just want that one thing to pop up, that it's the right thing to focus on in that moment, rather than having all these different things that we're trying to work on. So when we really tap into our why and we understand and we honor really what drives us at the deepest level, that is when we feel aligned, we feel relaxed, we feel in flow, we feel calm, we feel excited, we feel motivated, inspired, all those beautiful feelings that we want to feel. If you're not feeling those on a day-to-day basis, if you're feeling tension in your body, more than likely you're not aligned with your values. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and if you've got a pen and notebook there, I'd love it if you could write it down. Hello, Michelle, great to see you. Oh, you are Gem. Love it. Hey, Michelle. Yeah, so grab a pen and notebook and write these questions down. So these are 5 questions that I ask myself that really, they're like check-in questions. You can ask yourself at the beginning of a day, or at the beginning of the week, or at the beginning of the month. The more we ask ourselves powerful questions, the more we're going to get powerful answers. So the first question, so they're who, how, what, where, and why questions. So the first one is, who do I want to become more of? Who do I want to become more of? So write that down. Who do I want to become more of? So who we are becoming, as in, if you think about that identity, that future vision of who we're becoming, there's a great activity that we did in our coaching course that I now do with my clients, where you imagine that you're like 75 years old and someone's coming to your house and interviewing you, and they say to you, hey, what's it like being such a successful ... and then they just leave it blank and you fill it in with who you want to become. So when I did this activity, I said speaker, I said spiritual mother, which kind of surprised me, it came out of my mouth. I said philanthropist, author, and advisor. So I want to have by the age of 75, definitely want to be working. I do not want to be retired, but I still want to be writing, speaking, and more taking that advisory stance, like maybe being on the board of advisors in my company and having a CEO looking after the day-to-day operations and managing people and having multiple teams and managers. But when I think about like who I'm becoming, who do I want to become more of? Okay, well, if those are the 5 things I'm thinking about for that ultimate future, who am I becoming right now? And who do I want to become more of? If I keep taking the actions that I'm taking, what trajectory is that leading me on? And so if I want to become a masterful speaker, that means in my day-to-day life, I need to be putting things in my calendar potentially every day, if not every week, to make sure that I'm becoming that person that I want to become, that speaker, that world-class coach, that world-class author, whoever it is that you want to become more of. So the who is super important. Maybe with the who, you put characteristics. So if you think about the character of who you want to be. So for example, I want to be more kick-ass. Kick-ass to me, it's like this, it's kind of like being a badass, but badass can sometimes imply being a bit intimidating. But to me, kick-ass people they're relentlessly dedicated to creating results, creating the results they want. They're unapologetic about the results they want. They care more about what they think of themselves than what other people think of them. And they are the epitome of confidence and certainty. And so who I want to become is more kick-ass. Who I want to become, a role model, an example of possibilities. Knowing that my community is watching my life, knowing that my community will be inspired if I'm reaching my goals. So I want to kick ass. I want to be that person who is kicking goals in order to inspire other people, because that taps into my personal value of contribution. Maybe in terms of your character, you want to be more patient. That's one of my characteristics I want to develop this year, being more patient. Or maybe it's being more kind, being more inclusive, being more resilient, being more brave. And you think about the things that you need to do to prove it to yourself that you're brave. Doing Facebook Live videos, even if you don't feel like it. Running a webinar, even if you're scared of the tech. Starting a blog, even though you're scared of what people might think and you feel like you're not a great writer, for example. So who is it that you're becoming? Hello, Donna. Great to see you here. Hey, Josh. Great to have you guys all here live. So, thank you, Donna. I so appreciate that. So who are you wanting to become? So that's the first question to ask yourself. Who do I want to become more of? Number 2, how quickly am I evolving? Write it down. How quickly am I evolving? And by the way, those of you who have just joined us, anytime I say something that you think that's a gem, that's something I want to apply, just write it in the comments. So I'm giving you that gift of a gem, and please just give me back the gift of just writing it down in the comments. I'd appreciate it, or even just write the word gem if it's kind of like a, yep, I need to pay attention to that. So question 2, how quickly am I evolving? We're all growing. If you're in business, or if you are working on yourself, if you love personal development, if you're in this community, no doubt you are evolving. Not everyone is. Some people are just living the same day over and over and over again, but most of us are evolving. But really the question is, how quickly am I evolving? How quickly am I dedicated to catching what the issue is, where I need to improve, and working on it straight away? Not waiting weeks or months, not dilly-dallying and going, oh, you know, I should get to that sometime. You know, the word should implies that it's not really part of our value. You know, oh, I suppose I should. We need to tap that into our value. Why is that important for me to develop that characteristic in order for me to grow quickly? Because the world is hurting, there are people struggling and suffering, and we can help them. So we need to wake up. You know, we need to stop being dormant and just taking the slow lane. I was sharing about this in my inner circle group just before. Is there's the footpath where you're just walking. There's the steady lane where you're just cruising along, where you're just doing those things that are, you know, evolving you, but you're not really accelerating. There's that middle lane, and then there's a fast lane. How much time are you spending in the fast lane, really accelerating your growth by facing the stuff that scares you, facing those things that are in the next level of your comfort zone? You know, if you think about your comfort zone as a boundary that's around you, and that boundary is made up of your fear, because you don't want to go over that boundary into your next level, your next like outside of your comfort zone is that growth zone. So that fear is keeping you in that boundary. If you want to grow quickly, you need to step out, face that fear, whatever that fear is, whatever that boundary is that's keeping you in that comfort zone, and so you can quickly evolve, if not for you, for the sake of the people watching your life. And number 3, what can I do today to live from my values? I really love asking this question to myself. Sometimes I just go for a walk without my phone, and I just take one question with me. So I'll just get the question in my mind and just walk and just answer it. What can I do today to live from my values? And this question forces your mind to come up with it, because you're not saying, am I living according to my values? Yes or no. You're going, what can I actually do today to live more from my values? Super powerful question, because your mind is so resourceful and creative. It will come up with answers for you. And then you want to take action on them and do them. Question 4, where do I need to improve? Where do I need to improve? And this is actually getting really honest with yourself and going, what is not working in my life? What am I sucking at? What am I just really failing at? Other people might not know it, but you know it. So maybe you can fake it with other people, but don't fake it to yourself. If you are, I don't know, eating a bag of chips every night, if you are scrolling on your phone for an hour every morning when you wake up instead of doing something else, like, what is it? Are you texting when you're driving? Are you smoking? Are you, like, what are those things? You just got to face them, and you got to go, okay, where do I need to improve? What am I going to do about it? You know, really facing those things instead of just going, oh, I'll sort it out one day. You know, one day might never come. Today's the day. Like, face it. Where do I need to improve? Write it down. And then number 5 is why. Why is it important for me to go to the next level? Why is it actually important for me to step out of that boundary condition where I've kept myself safe and small because of fear that's trapping me in? Why is it important for me? Because we've all got a next jump. We've all got a next level. For some of us, it's going to the next level in our finances, contacting people, running events, writing a book, whatever it is. We've all got a next level, and we've all probably been putting it off because of fear. Like that's the most common thing that I see with my clients is they want to do something and they're procrastinating on it. We don't procrastinate typically because we're lazy. We procrastinate because we're not clear on the benefits, the reasons why we should be doing that thing, right? So really, when you get honest and you answer this question, why is it important for me? And don't just give a few answers, write at least 50 answers. Why is it important for me? And you might want to insert that specific thing. Like, why is it important for me to do Facebook Live videos every week? Why is it important for me to learn how to do Insta stories? Why is it important for me to write a blog post every week? Like, whatever that next level is, why is it important to me? So those are the 5 questions. If you would like me to send you like a document where I've got all this written out, just write the word me in the comments and I'll send you out that resource. Just put the word me if you want me to send you this written out. All right, so now I'm going to talk about my business values, and hopefully it's going to help kind of prompt you to think about your business values. So your personal values are the things that are like the overarching things that are important to you in life. So for example, my personal values, number 1 is freedom. It's always been freedom. That's why I left my full-time job in 2003 and I haven't really had a proper job since, because freedom as in lifestyle, my own rules, being my own boss, getting out of that kind of rat race that I felt like I was in is so high up there. It's more important to me than security. It's more important to me than having that supposedly safe income coming in every week. For me, that freedom to do my own thing is number 1. Number 2 is growth. So when you look at how you spend your time, like you know your values when you look around your environment. You look in your phone and you see what's in your calendar. Like in your calendar, is it gym sessions and healthy cooking and business events, or is it a whole lot of empty space where you kind of fill it by watching Netflix? Like, the way we determine our values is our environment, our friends, what's on your walls, what kind of books do you read. If you look at your Audible account, what kind of books are in there. That's how we tell our values. So I know that growth is such a high value because, well, I know freedom's number 1 because that's how I spend most of my time, is not stuck in a job. Growth is important because I spend my weekends and evenings doing growth activities. And because for the last 20 years, I've been going to seminars and investing in personal development and business, etc. So you can almost reverse engineer your values by looking at how you spend your time, energy, and resources. Number 3 is health. So energy is really important to me, having enough energy, making sure that I'm exercising really regularly and doing soul nourishing things like holidays every quarter, getting enough sleep, all of those things. Eating really healthy, eating nutritiously. Number 4 for me is connection. So just time with people, connecting with people, relationships. And number 5 is creation. So makes sense as an entrepreneur, creating my own content, things that I want to be like legacy items, intellectual property, packaging up what's important to me. So those are personal values. When it comes to business, when you think about your business values, you want to think a little bit more specifically. So with your personal, you're kind of looking at your overarching life in every area. With your business, think about how you're serving people and what's important to you in terms of like your lifestyle, the way you run your business. Is it important for you to have integrity? Like there's the real obvious ones. Like, of course, most of us want to have integrity in our business. We want to be honest. We want to be reliable. We want to have exceptional client service. All of those things that are quite obvious. And then you want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into really what lights you up as a business owner. Like really what is so important to you and what makes you a little bit unique. And it almost becomes a manifesto. So I like to set business values that I'm aiming towards rather than I'm necessarily have arrived, right? So I'll give you some examples and you'll see what I mean. So my first business value is radical resilience. Radical resilience. And what this encompasses is doing what I know is the right thing to do, whether I feel like it or not. And so that encompasses discipline, it encompasses consistency, so turning up whether I feel like it or not because I've made a commitment. So bouncing back, I do an event, it doesn't work as well as I wanted it to, but I don't wallow in that. I just keep going, keep going, keep going. It's having that until mindset. I'm going to keep going until it works. And I know that when I look at my to-do list and I've got hundreds of actions items on there, that I'm going to just keep going through and keep going and keep going and keep going until they're done, or remove them, delegate them, whatever it needs to be done. But I know that I'll never give up. I just will not give up. Going back, giving up is just, it's not an option. It never, ever enters my mind. Never enters my mind. There's no way I would go back. I've come too far. So that resilience is bouncing back, it's being committed, and it's being in, and it's being consistent and showing up. And I do it because of my why, which is to be an example of possibilities and be a role model. So if you think about that question that I asked you earlier, who am I becoming? That radical resilience is to do whatever it takes to become that person, to become the most evolved version of me, to help the whole world evolve and to help the people who are watching my life to evolve. Thank you. Oh, hey, Rachel. Good to see you here, Rach. So good. Radical resilience. Number 2, authentic expression and creativity. So this is something that, this is another example of, I'm not all the way there yet, but this is something that I'm aiming towards. So these 5 business values are things that I'm aiming towards, not necessarily have arrived. So with the authentic expression and creativity, I don't always get it right. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm not fully expressing who I am. Sometimes I feel like, who am I? I'm not really sure. I'm such a byproduct of all these mentors that I've studied, because I'm such a, what's the word? I soak up gurus and mentors and spend so much time listening to what they're saying that sometimes I'm like, am I really using my own authentic voice? But it's something that's so important for me to keep working on and evolving towards, of being able to really be creative and, yes, take all the ideas of everything that I'm learning from other people. But if you think about innovation, it's often the combination of different ideas plus someone else's creativity added to it. So that's something that I'm evolving to become. Number 3 is extreme ownership and excellence. There's a great book I'm reading at the moment, or listening to at the moment on Audible, called Extreme Ownership. And it's these Navy SEALs and their leaders. They go into these incredibly traumatic, dangerous situations where they're taking over, you know, taking land, taking territory, and they're in these very high pressure situations. And let's say 2 or 3 levels down the ranks, someone does something wrong, and then after the operation they have to have this big meeting and talk about it. They talk about how they take full ownership for what that person did, even though they're way high up, like they might be a staff sergeant, corporal, but they're taking full responsibility at every level. And it's just an example of extreme ownership of everything that happens in my business. I'm responsible for. There's no blame, there's no excuses, there's no denial, there's no this, there's that. I'm 100% responsible for my reaction to what happens. Yes, I can't control coronavirus or the economy, all these things that can happen, platforms changing, Facebook not showing your post to people, you know, not getting much visibility. We can't change those things directly. We can only change our response to it and pivot and do something different. Number 4 is productive organization and consistency. Again, something that I'm working towards. It's not natural. It's something that I've got to train. A lot of people say to me, oh, you're so organized, and it's not a natural gifting or talent. It's something that I'm not naturally good at, but it's something that I work on consistently. So for example, how do I outwork that day to day? Is that I show up whether I feel like it or not, and even though I'm striving for excellence, sometimes I have to launch things at 80%, 90% because the ROI on me getting that thing to perfection is just wasting time. And so I've got to just be consistent and be organized and just do my absolute best and be excellent, but let go of perfectionism. And then number 5 is people-focused growth and contribution. And so it's not enough for me to just amass money or just to build an empire. You know, it's all about how can I serve, how can I support, how can I make a bigger difference, how can I give back, how can I invest money into charities and causes that I care about. And so with these values and with your values, maybe you want to come up with your top 5 if you haven't already. It's about every day going, like I take myself on a walk and think about a question, how can I be more radically resilient today? How can I be more of an example of possibilities to the people that who are watching my life? How can I more authentically express myself creatively in my Facebook Live, in my email, in that social media post? How can I take extreme ownership? And I just ask myself, and I often sit in this chair and just journal it out. So journaling for me is not, dear diary, today I ate breakfast and did this. It's more asking questions and answering it based on values. So I love those 5 questions because you can just keep going with it. How can I do more? How can I do more? How can I evolve quicker? And your brain will keep coming up with answers, which is super cool. Your brain is incredible. It's endless. And so I encourage you to take some action on this. What I'd invite you to do is to journal around these questions, answer the questions, write down your top 5 business values if you haven't already. And then if you've got your values there, ask yourself, how can I get more of this value? How can I get more of it? And just allow your brain to play and come up with the answers for you. Your brain is very good at coming up with answers when you ask it a direct question and you sit there with a blank paper. And then you might say 50 reasons why it's important for you to take that action. So please post in the comments what action are you going to take based on this? I don't want this to just be nice information, entertaining, inspiring, whatever. I want you to take action on it. So please pop in the comments, what is it that you're going to actually take action on? Maybe you're going to answer the questions. Maybe you're going to post your business values live. Maybe you're going to share your business values to your community. If you'd like to chat about how to define your business values and how to actually outwork them, I offer a free 45-minute strategy session. So if you haven't had a free session with me yet, you can apply for a call with me. And I'll just pop the link in the chat box and you can just click on that and apply for a call if you haven't had a free call with me already. And whoops, did that work? Not sure if that worked. I'll just try that again. So I'd love to know what you thought about this video, what you got out of it, what got you thinking, and if you've got any questions, please post them in the comments box as well, and I will answer those all personally. So thank you for being here live. It's so awesome to see you guys. Hey, Gaynor. Carolyn is going to go for a walk tomorrow and ask myself one of these questions. Awesome, Caroline. I'd love to know how you go with it. Carolyn, sorry. Donna's going to ask yourself more questions. Oh, you're welcome, Rich. Awesome. You're very welcome. Love you guys. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye for now.